Today on Beardo and Weirdo and Bucko, Dave Buckner, we're talking to Stephen Rae and Big Dave, two people who are very close to Ozzy Osbourne, sharing stories and memories of Ozzy 1 year after his passing.
Live from Baghdad.
Enjoy.
Live from the ISS.
Long Island, Houston, and Las Vegas. Chris Kale is coming to you.
If you want to see us at any of those cities in Long Island, Houston, Texas, or Las Vegas, all the info is at getgas.com. Getgas with 2 S's.com. We got a super duper episode because in the studio we have Chris Kale from the rock and roll band Five Finger Death Punch, Dave Buckner, one of our favorite people on planet Earth, OG drummer for Papa Roach, and we're being joined by two very, very important people who have been two of the best episodes we have had in this first 16 months that we started, and we've got them on together. We got Big Dave, who was Ozzy's assistant on tour, started out. The background from both these guys is amazing, but Dave went on to be an assistant to Ozzy, and we have Stephen Rae, who, if Mike Inez says that's a wonderful human being, my God, do you have to be a wonderful human being to get that from Mike Inez, who loves everybody. And Stephen Rae wrote this incredible book, and just to reset so everybody can get on board with us to the background of everybody, Stephen, in short order, 16 years old, your mother, or you're 15 years old when your mother sends a letter.
Yes, 15.
15 years old, your mother sends a letter to the Ozzy Osbourne fan club and says, my son is a huge Ozzy fan. We just want to know how to get these tickets to Rock in Rio. Rock in Rio is a 10-day festival. It's Queen, it's Ozzy, it's all the biggest bands in the world. And we just want to know how to get these tickets. And they get a response, a phone call from Ozzy's office saying, just go. We'll take care of it. Just get yourself to Rio. We'll take care of it. And when he shows up, it's backstage passes. He ends up standing on stage with Ozzy at Rock in Rio, which has to be a capacity of 4.5 billion people. It's a ridiculous, at least 4.5 billion people. And Stephen, 15 years old, is standing feet away from his hero. Dave,
but it gets better.
And it gets better because then he goes on to go, the family likes him and they take him in. And then he starts spending time with the Osbournes. And then the next summer he's like, I want to go on tour with Ozzy. So he skips school and he's touring with Ozzy, and they go, he's got a budget that he saved up, but Ozzy's tour manager says, just get on the bus. We'll take care of it. We're going to put you up in our hotels. And he's their mascot on the road, and he gets travel. And then eventually, years later, he ends up getting a job as assistant tour manager. They're like, you're here so much, we might as well give you a job. Dave is a limo driver, blue collar guy, driving rich and famous people around. And at the home office for where he works, he sees the names of people who need to be picked up, and he sees Ozzy's name, and he goes, I want that one. And he befriends Ozzy just like Stephen did. And in short order, he ends up just take care of the kids, show them around the city of New York, and just make sure they're okay. And then Dave ends up getting the same invitation that Stephen gets, which is come to Los Angeles and stay with us. Did I get any of that wrong, guys?
No, you're pretty accurate on that.
Okay, here's how I want to summarize it.
Wild, man.
The two of you, and only the two of you, have experienced this demented Willy Wonka experience. What the fuck? And how often do you look back and say, what the fuck?
Yeah, and when I wrote the book, I had many moments when I was sitting, and it did just sort of take me back, because Dave might speak to the same sort of thing here, but you do sort of take it for granted. It's like, well, this story happened and now I'm here. And it's only when you do, and obviously, as we know, over the last year, especially when you sort of reflect on things, what I will say for me is it changed my life. And what I people say that, I'm sure you've had a bunch of guests on that say, oh, when I heard War Pigs, it changed my life because I knew I wanted to be a guitarist. Or
Sure.
When I heard Sabbath for the first time, it changed. But I mean, it changed my life in a tangible way, because I mean, I'm from Belfast, from Northern Ireland. 22 years later, I'm sitting in New Orleans. It's July and it's 1,000 million degrees. I wish I was back in Belfast today, to be honest with you. But in general, because of my situation with the Osbourne, it changed my life in that I met Americans, I worked for Americans, I'm married to Americans, and I've ended up in a tangible way. Not only it's just like Dave, do we have an incredible story and feel so privileged that I got to experience what I got to experience, but it actually sent my life on a different path.
And we're going to circle back to that scar you just revealed there.
Let me get this straight. You had 2 American wives. You said you lived in Louisiana. You sure you're not in Utah?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there was one after the other.
He didn't say at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
In succession.
They weren't at the same time, as far as I know.
America, the land of plenty.
And by the way, I didn't headline this, but the obvious thing is we're doing this now because it's been 1 year now since Ozzy has passed. So, Dave, when you look back, when we were talking to you, Dave, there were multiple times where we just kept going, what the fuck? We couldn't, when you look back now and it's been a year since Ozzy's been gone, do you still have those what the fuck moments?
They never go away. My thing was before they asked me to come out for them in California and stuff, for 6 months to a year, our business, it was just me and my buddy at the end. We had gone through a bunch of limousine companies we were working with, and they all kind of crapped on our client stuff. We would keep business and we couldn't spread. So for 6 months too, I was like, someone's got to just hire me out here, take me out of New York. Someone's got to hire me. I said, I can't do this shit anymore. I said, we would run around, hand in bills. We were doing the Stones. We'd hand in bills for $28,000 and we'd still owe $1,500. But at the end of the day, me and my buddy were like, hey, we did the Stones.
Right.
But too many years of that, I was losing. Dude, someone's got to take me out of here. And then the whole thing, it was my birthday. They're like, come to Vegas. Then they want to come on tour. And then halfway through the tour, they're like, why don't you come out and live with us? So, yeah, every day I just think about it. Even in the Ozzy camp, there's sometimes where it's a great day or bad days too. But at the end of the day, you can put a CD on, you can listen to it, and oh shit, Ozzy's my boss at the end of the day. So whatever bad day, it really wasn't that bad. So it's I'm always pinching myself and always thankful for, Steven, they just took me out of New York and that was it. I was never leaving New York. But then when I wanted to get hired, they were like, well, I'll live in New York, so you're going to have to come to California. And that was it. Basically my life was, okay, what are they doing and where am I going and what's happening? Because I never really had a choice in any of my positions in the Osbournes. They basically told me this is what you're doing, and basically, if you can't handle the position they put you in, then you're gone. So that's what you do. You just hang with it, and you fake it till you make it. And oh yeah, I was always a nanny, and I was always a tourman. I was always security. Yeah, I always did all that stuff. You just learn,
And funny thing, I saw Dave briefly in New Orleans last month. I got back from England on a Friday night or something, and Dave was in New Orleans, but he was leaving. So we had an hour in the pub together. And anyway, and I was telling him when I was at the house and I was going through some stuff, we were trying to sort of archive some stuff, and I found some old tour itineraries. One was from Kelly, as whenever she toured Europe, I think maybe it was something like 2003 or 2000.
Yeah, that was 02 or 03 or something.
2002 or 2003 or something. So I was flicking through this old itinerary, and there's Dave's name, Chief of Security or something.
Chief of Security. And Dave, I remember my memory of it when you joined us last year was that you were in the middle of a tour when people like Jack and Kelly were saying, hey, you're coming to LA, right? And you're like, I don't know, am I coming to LA? It seemed to be confirmed.
Yeah, well, actually all the bit was, there was production people and band people. They started oh, dude, you're going to LA? Or oh, LA. And then I thought something was happening in LA, oh, we're going to have to leave for a couple of days and come back. And then I saw Sharon was gone from the tour for a couple of weeks doing some stuff. So when she came back, I was like, hey, I wanted to ask you about this like LA thing. Is there some party or something? And she's like, oh, I forgot to ask you. Like, do you want to come move to LA and like watch the kids and stuff after the tour? And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. I said, I've never done that before. And she's like, look, you passed the one thing. She's like, they like you. Like on that tour, we literally went through like 5 bus drivers because they couldn't handle Jack and Kelly.
And that's
the one bus driver he was his first day and Poland Spring water bottles are banging off the window. And he was like, hey guys, I think you dropped some water bottles. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, don't worry about it. He goes, I heard about you guys. He goes, we'll be okay together. So you always had to have a special bus driver for the kids.
And that's something I'm curious about when you start describing how many people got cut from the organization. The two of you separately find yourself in this bizarre position where you don't work in the music business, but you're now part of Ozzy's traveling circus and part of his life and you're part of his home life. When the two of you find out about each other, because along the way you go, oh, this is Bobby. What is he? Oh, he's the tour manager. Okay, so he's a professional. What is it? This is Big Val. What's Big Val? He's security. Okay, so he's security. Okay, Dave's a guitar tech. Okay, Dave's, and then you find out, and who's Steven? Oh, Steven's just a guy they love. And you go, oh, well, I'm a guy they love. At any moment, did the two of you, when you first met, did you ever like privately go, the fuck are we doing here? Like, did you ever have conversations like that?
I don't think we ever did.
I think that was more recently.
Yeah,
I saw Steven like periodically, like here and there. Like I remember, like the early years, it was like, oh, there's this guy Steven. Like I would like arrange the ticket sometimes in an envelope, or maybe there was like a chance. Like I didn't see him that much in the early days, as much as the last couple of years.
When you say arrange for the ticket in the envelope, you mean that you were in charge of arranging for the guest list for the guests for the box office? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, usually if it was like the Sharon or Ozzy, or there's a special guest, they'd be like, oh, you pull the tickets and like make sure they get in or make sure they're there or something like that, so that they don't have any issues getting in.
Now, did you find
Steven guy? To be honest, I was like, who's this fucking Steven guy that we got to like all bow down to and shit? And, like,
oh wow,
yeah. I was like, I've seen this fucking guy before. And then they told me the story. So.
Did you ever think to yourself about Steven, who is this Ligger?
Yeah, right.
I do remember I took a friend and they always, again.
Well, I was just like, where does he come from? I was like, who's, but then he was like the guest, so we took care of him. And then they were like, oh, Steven, he was the kid that went out on the road and wrote the book. I was like, oh, I don't remember any book. I was like, what's the, then afterwards, and then we like, oh.
Nice.
So then we found, then we kind of like over the years would see each other like once a tour. He would always show up to one show a tour that I'd see him at least. So.
Oh wow, Steven, what were you going to say?
But he never took me out for beer or anything. And thank you, until later on.
Tension building.
Afford a night out with Big Dave. Never. I never earned that much money. But, it's fun. Yeah. I do remember on one of the No More Tears, No More Tears, whatever. And I do remember I had a friend, we went to a show in Texas, and I turned up and they sort of sent someone out to get me. Of course, now it's all just smartphone. You just text someone and say, I'm here or I'm there or this.
Sure.
But back then, you all had to go, as you guys remember, you had to phone the production office and nobody would answer the phone. And then they would be like, well, who are you? And anyway, and I do remember they sent out Bobby, who was our longtime tour manager. He was with Ozzy for many years. And I do remember they sent him out to get me with like a radio. And he came, and I have this friend who I'm taking to the show, and he's going, I've got him, we're going to walk back. And my friend's just going, are you the fucking Pope?
Yeah.
What are they sending? Yeah. They're sending people to get you and walk you through to make sure you get. And I was like, well, they're good like that. So they always took care of the Osbourne organization, whether it was Big Dave or whether it was anyone else. They always took care of their own sort of fantastic.
So I did notice last night when I was doing my reading for today, the book is separated into 3 different sections, right? So it starts off fan, and then friend, and then Ligger. And then you mentioned that word, and I was like, okay, can you explain to me, what is the definition of the word Ligger?
Steven actually told us the definition. Go ahead, Steven. It's your book.
So what I funny, since the book has come out, I got another definition, another explanation. But a Ligger, there was a rock magazine, and I don't know how much it sort of translated across the Atlantic, but it was a huge rock magazine back home in the UK in the 80s called Kerrang.
Of course, yeah.
And was it, so you could buy Kerrang in the States then?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was an import. It was harder to get, but you heard a lot about Kerrang.
We had boats. They brought it over by boat.
Yep.
Yeah. We get it 3 months after release.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, anyway, so Kerrang was a big thing, and I believe it was them that sort of coined the term. It was the first time I saw it anyway. It was a Ligger. A Ligger is basically someone who brings nothing to the party. Somebody who turns up backstage with a pass and will, look for the free beer and just basically pose about.
So basically, me nowadays.
No,
that's about it. Yeah.
No,
It's on with two today.
Chris will happily tell you that they're basically describing
Mr. Craig Gass.
Yeah.
When you said what is a Ligger, I just put my hand out and pointed at Craig over here. There you go.
If you look it up in the
to be honest, whenever we see you, Chris.
That's why I relate to this story so much with Dave and with Steven, because I'm a fan. I love music so much that those moments that I've spent my whole life around people whose music and whose work I really admired, I paid attention to every single detail of what was going on. And I was fascinated with the culture of how these tours ran. Steven's incredible attention to detail. 16 years old now. It's been like, a year removed from when he first met Ozzy, and he's been saving up. And there's a summer coming up where Ozzy's coming to Europe, and Steven's plan is, I'm jumping in and I'm gonna book hotels around the tour, but he ends up being let in, like, let us take care of it. Just ride with us. And along the way, he has these moments that only as a fan, there's such an innocence to Steven hearing, as one of his notes that he wrote, apparently Bob Daisley is really cheap. And I was like, that's hilarious. An innocent 15-year-old making this observation that it was known within the Ozzy camp that Bob Daisley is cheap. That is one of the funniest things that struck me in the beginning of the book. And as a 15-year-old, you're kind of amazed of like, wow, I'm hearing like real human conversations about these people. And do you remember where it came from that you heard that Bob Daisley was cheap? Or was it just kind of like a known thing that kind of circulated?
It was a known thing, but I think I tell the story in the book is what happened at Rock in Rio. So again, like you said, I'm 15 years old. I'm the world's biggest fan. I'm just overawed, not just because I'm getting to spend time with Ozzy, but also his band, of course. And at that time, it was Jakey Lee and it was Bob Daisley, who had already made a name in Rainbow and that kind of stuff. Yep. And he was playing with Gary Moore, I think, just before he joined Ozzy. But anyway, and I was going out for dinner. So imagine I'm a 15-year-old from Belfast, and it's January. I should be in school. I've been taken out of school. I'm in Rio de Janeiro. I'm at the Copacabana Palace Hotel on Copacabana Beach. And they say to me, do you want to go out for dinner with us? And it's Jakey Lee, John Sykes, who's the guitarist in Whitesnake at that time.
Yeah.
I think Bob, maybe Don Airy, the keyboard player. Anyway, we're standing there. And Bob says to me, I like your shoes. And I just bought them in Rio, like these white crappy, $20 shoes or whatever they were. And I was like, oh yeah, I just bought them today. He says, can I try them on? He tried them on. So anyway, he said, what could I, where did you get those? I really like those. Where did you get those? And I tried to explain it to him. And I said, you know what? Why don't I tell me your size and I'll go tomorrow and buy you a pair. And just, and I'll get it. It was great. So we're waiting for this limo to come and take us to lunch. And somebody who works, dinner, excuse me. And somebody who works for Ozzy takes me aside and says, Stephen, do not buy anybody dinner tonight. All right. And I'm like, you're talking about Bob Daisley, aren't you? And this person who worked for Ozzy goes, yes, don't let him trick you into buying. You're like, okay, all right. So we go out for dinner. I don't have to buy him dinner. It's fantastic. Here's this 15-year-old kid. I'm sitting in a restaurant with these guitar gods, all the rest of it. So the next day I go out and buy Bob Daisley his shoes. And then I take them to his room and I give them to him. And I said, okay, here's your shoes. He goes, great. How much were those or whatever? And I was like, $28, whatever. And Bob goes, oh, I've only got $20. I'm like,
All right.
I'm like, that's fine. And I'm just, there was almost like a badge of honor that I have been shafted by Bob Daisley.
15 years old.
Yeah, just true to every cliche, true to everything I've been heard.
15
Bob
years
hasn't paid me the money he owes me for his shoes.
All right. So my question to you, Dave, is do you have an early memory of learning something about somebody's personality that you went, wow, so that person's like this?
Yeah, that's Jason Newsted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when Jason Newsted first joined the band, which when we made the worst rock trade in history, even though, Trujillo for Newsted. So when that happened, I was with Bobby Thompson, who was the guy that Steven was talking about that used to go get him and stuff.
Yep.
And he's, so I was kind of, Jason's new on the thing, and it's the first day, I think we're up in like Toronto or Vancouver or something like that. And he has this bass. He sends his bass down, and we ride the band bus. So it was like Ian Newsted, I think it was Bordin, and Zach had his own bus, and the keyboardist and stuff at the time. I think it was Adam Wakeman was there. And so I took the bass, and then some luggage comes down, and I put it underneath the thing. So the whole other time, he was kind of all right and quiet. So then we were on the way, and he was like, "Where's my bass?" As we were on the bus. It was like literally like a 10-minute ride from the hotel. And I was like, oh, the bass is underneath with the luggage and stuff and whatnot. And he goes, hey, just so you know, when the artist is going to the show and stuff, he likes to travel with his instrument up there. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, next time, make sure you have it up here and don't put it under the bay. I was like, okay, cool. He goes, because the artist likes to travel with his instrument. I was like, okay, cool. And that was like my introduction to like the first day for Jason Newsted. But Ozzy got him back, not unbeknownst. It was excellent. So that was the tour where Ozzy was watching Paul McCartney do like 3-hour shows.
Oh, okay.
So we went from we started off with an 1.5-hour show. By the time we got across Canada, we were 3 hours, like
What?
3 hours and 5 minutes was the longest show.
You're kidding.
So what I got to do every show after, I think the first, he did the second one, and then he started adding songs. So he was like, oh, because Zach has no problem. Like, he's just literally knows the songs. Like, he doesn't have to learn the songs, everybody knew the songs pretty much. So I would go to Jason, and I would say, hey, Jason, just so you know, Ozzy wants to do Over the Mountain, Goodbye to Romance, and this one on the next show. So here's the 3 CDs. Have fun. But then that would be turned into like every show. So like after the shows, like Jason would get on the bus, and he'd fucking see me coming. And I'd have like CDs in my hand, and he knew Ozzy was adding songs. So I got to see the terror on his face as I was coming towards him with the new songs each time.
Now, as a bass
And
player,
I remember sometimes when we actually had to go in, we went in early and we practiced a bunch.
as a bass player, you guys have both had bad stories about bass players. Do you have any good stories about the Ozzy Osbourne bass players? Just to redeem us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything's going to be Mike Inez.
Well, the only good story. It's the good
The
story.
only
for us
good
was
story.
The good story for us was for I guess Robert was the bad day for us. Is I came home from Ozzy and I saw Robert sitting in the back in Venice with headphones on and a bass, and he's literally just writing out the chart music. And I go, what are you doing? I was like, he's like, oh. He goes, I got the call. He goes, Metallica wants me to try out. And I was like, fuck. We're done. I said, Ozzy's done. I said, how are they? Then what other bassists are they going to choose besides you? No offense, but at the time, there wasn't really a big pool of rock and roll bassists that could pull that off.
Yeah.
Especially, the way I knew him and stuff. So lo and behold, gone that weekend. And I was right. But I was happy for him because he actually, he kind of, anchored that band down for when he got in there. So I'm glad that he was able to go do that. But like I said, sad day for Ozzy and stuff, because Ozzy loved him and he loved that rhythm section and stuff. And he loved to play off of Trujillo and stuff during the live shows and everything. So.
And the lineup for the band at that time when Trujillo was in, who was the drummer at that time?
Bordin.
Is that Bordin?
Yeah.
Dude.
Bordin.
I loved him drumming for Ozzy. That was awesome.
And how about that Faith
Bordin.
No More reunion coming up
Yeah.
next year?
Oh yeah.
There was
Is it happening?
Oh yeah.
Faith No More.
there was
Dude,
a
no
Tishy-
way.
There was a Brian Tishy.
That's right, Brian
we had
Tishy.
a
played.
Tishy year or two as well.
And Joe Holmes was in there for
So
a
we
minute.
had Brian. Yeah, it was Tishy, Holmes, Trujillo, and the keyboardist was John Sinclair from the Cult and stuff. He was on a bunch of the Ozzy stuff after Phil Suzanne left, I think, in '86 or whatever. After that Ultimate Sin album, I think that's when John came in. But that was and Joe Holmes, he was like a direct descendant. He was the last student of Randy Rhoads. So that guy actually plays the stuff exactly as Randy played. He's the guy that won't add his own stuff in. He plays it exactly like that.
Steven comes into Ozzy's life at the same time that I start discovering Ozzy, which is the Jakey Lee, Phil on bass, and was it Randy on drums at the time? It was, yeah.
Yeah, the first show the first sort of Ozzy album I got into was Dire for Madman, of course. But then the first time I saw him was '84 at Donington, and that was Jake on guitar, Tommy Aldridge on drums.
Tommy Aldridge on drum. That's right.
Yeah.
And
Beast of a drummer. Dude.
Steven, at some point, after just hanging out with him for a couple of nights, he gets cocky enough that he's 16 years old and he corners Sharon and goes, "Hey, so let me ask you some questions about some of these songs." And he starts just hitting her with like questions about, where did these songs? How come on this version of the album here in the UK you got this song, and then on the US version, and he's at any point, Dave, did you early on have that moment? And I'm saying this with all due respect, Stephen, when I say a lack of self-awareness, but did you ever have a moment, Dave, where you had a lack of self-awareness and just started asking fan questions to either Ozzy, Sharon, or other people in the organization?
No, I just waited till I was like comfortable to ask. I didn't really have too many like, I wanted to know this question. It was more later on type of stuff. Most of it got answered, like, by Ozzy himself. I was like, I always wondered about like the Bob Daisley thing, because Bob Daisley's got his version, and then we have our version, and then there's the truth, but the truth is kind of close to our version and stuff. Because I to add on that, not to pile on Bob, but he likes to talk too. But so I also heard a story that was told to me about him that he used to when he was in the hotels, he'd break glasses in the shower. And then he'd call them up and be like, "Oh, there's glass in my bathroom and stuff. Give me a free meal or give me money in my room."
Nice.
So it's like funny stuff like that. Like I was going to ask about that stuff, but Ozzy and other people would just tell the stories anyway because he wasn't the only person. They think like all these stories are just from the Ozzy camp. He played with a lot of people and was stupid and jerked off to a lot of people, So, but I didn't really have any things that I really wanted to know too much, So I just kind of I learned you just keep your mouth. I just kept my mouth shut and low for like this year and didn't ask stupid questions. Now Steven's different because he was just like the friend. I was actually working.
Well, and also
so he was just like he's got more. Like I'm writing no book. Steven was able to write a book, everything.
But also you have to also keep in mind, and this is why I think Steven is forgiven for all of this, is because Steven was 15 when he first met him. So 16, I mean, he has this incredible story of hearing
you're in there, you never know how long you never know how long you're gonna be there.
Yeah. So he's a kid getting to hang out, not only go to the shows, but hang out with his hero.
And from Belfast, in the middle of this incredible rock and roll circus now.
Right. From Belfast, war-torn Belfast.
Oh, yeah.
He's 15 years old. He's getting away from this hell.
Yeah. From the troubles and the trouble he had no idea he was getting into with Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah. And then
right.
then 15 he describes Go ahead, Stephen. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say which was worse. Like the town racked by a civil war or going on the road with Ozzy in his drinking days in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which was more dangerous?
You were very well prepared.
Yeah, but it is funny. To your point, it is funny. Just yesterday, I'm trying to find this photograph of this ex-Ozzy employee that nobody can remember, and I know existed because I shared a hotel room with her once. And so in my attic in July in New Orleans, I was up there for an hour going through boxes yesterday. And I've just got boxes of photographs from the 80s and the 90s. And just to your point, what you're saying, it is just a total lack of self-awareness of being a kid. And the photographs I have there that today you would never dream of taking, photographs of like backstage photographs and girls doing this and girls doing that. And even the kids, with the 3 kids. And when I was just like Dave, I often got, look after the kids and just taking pictures of them, larking about or whatever. And it was just that total idiocy that comes with being a teenager, that you don't think for a second, wait, am I crossing a line? Taking all these photographs. But the other thing I did want to mention quickly, just because we were talking about bass players, and the 2 guys I'm closest with, I guess, in the rock world or whatever, are Mike Inez and Robert Trujillo. And I don't think this made the book. I think it got cut out. But in the 90s, when you were on the road in the 90s, I'm sure you guys obviously know a lot better than me. And today it's everyone's on their phones and FaceTiming and got their laptops. But back in the 90s, when you were on the road, you were in everyone's pockets. You were in each other's pockets. You were on the tour bus together. You were in the dressing room together, you were at the hotel together. And if you got days off, especially then, Ozzy had a lot of double days off. And how you'd put your time in was you'd go and find secondhand CD shops. That's what you did in your days off. And so I bought Berlin's album. I can't remember what it was called, Count 3 and Pray maybe or something. It was that Berlin had an album in like the late 80s, Take My Breath Away. It was like a big hit.
I remember that one, yeah.
And they had that, and I bought the CD because I'd seen them. I'd actually seen them play in Belfast with Frankie Goes to Hollywood, because our wardrobe girl was there. Wardrobe was Frankie's wardrobe girl. But anyway, so I bring it backstage, and I'm in the dressing room with Robert Trujillo. And he's giving me shit. You bought, and I swear to God, I swear on my daughter's life, everything I'm about to tell you is true. I haven't massaged the narrative for effect. I swear on my life, this is true. So I've got this CD in the dressing room, and they're like, this is the biggest load of bollocks. Berlin? Really? Berlin? This is the sort of thing and I swear on my life. 5 minutes later, Ozzy walks into the dressing room, the band's dressing room, just walks up to Robert and goes, Robert, can you play a fretless bass? And Robert goes, yeah, probably. Goes, yeah, because I want to write a song. Like Berlin's Take Your Breath.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And I didn't say it, and Ozzy left the dressing room. I was just cracked up. And Robert was going, I thought he was joking.
Wow. Oh, I love that story.
Redemption.
Dave, did you ever have moments of revealing bands that you liked that you got shit for by Ozzy or his band or crew? By the way, Dave's in Baghdad broadcasting. I should point out that the delay is that he's live from Baghdad in the middle of a war zone. So Dave in Baghdad.
Belfast?
Yeah, in Belfast, yeah.
Tehran now.
Yeah. Dave, you still there?
Apparently the bombs have hit.
The bombs have hit.
Yep.
Is he still there?
He's still there, but he's not coming through.
Okay.
Oh man.
Stephen, to draw the yin and yang of Stephen's life.
First of all, hold on. He's in a war zone and just disappeared, and we're just going to bypass this?
Yeah, man.
The show must go on.
We'll get back to
Zero
that.
concern.
Yeah,
we'll get back.
seconds looking for him.
Yeah.
But
It's
now
like-
it's time to move on again.
It's like the old Mitch Hedberg joke about Dufresne, party of three. Dufresne, party of three. Buckner, party of four. Wait a minute, what happened to the Dufresnes? Someone's got to put out a search party for the Dufresnes. We can't give up on the Dufresnes. But the yin and yang of Stephen's life is his description of his school in Belfast was 6 days a week, wearing a uniform. And when, I don't know if it was just the teachers or if any adult walked into the room, you had to stand for the teacher, stand at attention. And he's going from that shit to Ozzy Osbourne. No rules, no fucking,
No uniform.
no uniform. And it's just a grown man with the mentality of a 15-year-old, you know?
That's exactly right. And I got like a scholarship. I got into this. I mean, it was like Hogwarts. It was in this old building. We wore shorts every day of the year. You had to wear shorts. It's Northern Ireland in the winter. It's snowing. It's dark. But you still wore shorts. You had to wear a cap.
Angus Young.
Six shift. That's
Yeah.
you had to go to school 6 days a week.
Did you get me back here?
Oh yeah, I got you. We
Dave's
got you.
back. All right.
Dave, can you hear us? Okay.
For a minute. Sorry about that.
Stephen.
Good to hear you're okay, man.
Yeah, I heard the question cut out. So
Stephen had told a story about being mocked initially by Robert Trujillo for liking the band Berlin and getting their CD from Berlin when this crazy moment happens where Ozzy walks into the dressing room and tells Robert, "Hey, can you play a fretless bass? Because I want to do a song kind of like that Berlin song, Take My Breath Away." And Steven just sits there quietly like, "Holy shit, I can't believe I just saw that." And I was just wondering, Dave, I get the feeling Dave probably didn't drift into other musical genres, but did you ever get mocked for the music you liked by either Ozzy, the band, or the crew while you were touring with Ozzy? Did you ever get teased for that?
no, believe it or not, I have a very like my 5-disc changer, and then I would have one disc. I would have the soundtrack and the fact, and I'd have Outlasted. And so I could have a podcast with you about the incidents with Tom Jones that I've had.
Dave,
Yeah, they would mock me, but I only played Jones when I was driving them at first. So I was like, I had it in there.
Dave, I hate to point this out, but the connection is really bad.
That was almost as hard to understand as Ozzy sometimes.
Yeah.
Where must Dave be where the internet is worse than it is in Louisiana?
Yeah. Good point. Dave, if you're able to get to a better location, we had actually talked about this before we recorded that Dave was having some issues with Big Dave, not Dave Buckner.
Oh, it happened with Dave too.
It did
that's
happen
right.
with me. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right, with Dave Buckner.
Must be
That's
something
my
about
biggest
Dave's
complaint about
and
living.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something
Yep.
about Dave's and Wi-Fi, but
Farmernet.
But Big Dave, if you're able to get to a better, more secure connection, please try to rejoin us from a more secure connection. But
Come out of the bomb shelter.
yeah, Stephen, I wonder if you talk about Ozzy loving to play pranks. I don't like pranks personally, and I want to ask Chris Kale and Dave Buckner. Do you guys like when people fuck with you and play pranks? Are you like okay with pranks?
Not at all.
What about
Not
you,
at all.
Chris?
People know better.
Yeah.
So
I don't do
Stephen,
pranks, and I don't do. I mean, I'll playfully prank someone, but it's never like malicious or whatever like that. So
Sure.
anytime someone does like a too excessive of a prank,
Right.
it's really And I don't do sarcasm well either.
And
When you guys-
I can
when you
kick
guys
people in
were
the
on
face.
the road, were you not? Did you not feel you were continually a schoolboy? Was it not continuous?
yeah.
Was it not like? Was it not every day you got up expecting somebody somewhere to play a joke? Because I'm curious. I only ever really toured with Ozzy and Sabbath, so I wonder. You know, for your day-to-day life, the guys on the road with you, are they not doing stuff?
Well, with us, like with Five Finger Death Punch, when we're out on the road, we're always like joking
Are they
around,
fun?
but not so much. Not so much like pranks. It's more like jokes. You kind of make fun of each other.
Yeah.
Like I've got both Andy James, who has a really thick English accent, and Zoltan Bathory, who still has a very thick Hungarian accent. So half the time, I need the iPhone to have closed captions when I'm listening to both of those two.
and with Papa Roach, Dave, were you guys playing pranks on each other?
I mean, yeah, we did. There was because when we broke, we were all really young. I mean, like I was in my early 20s, Tobin was 19.
Yeah.
We're all in that, and so like, yeah, dude, we couldn't help but just be goofballs out there, and then add alcohol to the mix, and
And
I mean, like
you did that Acapulco.
the
I was trying to
Acapulco
think, you
Fest
guys
with
did the
Kelly.
Acapulco show
Yep,
with Kelly, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was very
That
close
a
to getting
weird
that gig.
show. I don't know. It was
Really?
It was Kelly, Papa Roach,
Yep.
and somebody else.
Yep.
I actually,
Oh wow! Wait a minute. So Kelly is a solo artist
Yeah.
and played with Papa Roach and what were we gonna say, Chris?
I actually auditioned for Kelly Osbourne's band
No shit.
for that gig in Los
No
Angeles.
way.
Yeah.
No
Wow.
I think I was maybe.
Oh, they did that. We were there. We shot you down, bro. Sorry.
It was actually
man.
it was actually Big Dave himself. He's
Yeah.
like, nah, that the guy with the dreadlock
And you know
beard,
what?
nah, not him.
Not for nothing. It turned out okay for me.
I think you're doing okay, Chris.
No, you know what? We were just going into the we were just going into the archives, and I saw that there was Kelly Osbourne audition tapes. So now I'm gonna have to tell my buddy next time he goes in there to pull those out. So maybe we can have the exclusive Chris Kale audition for Kelly Osbourne.
Dave, as soon as you find that, you send that
it to
right
the show.
right to Beardo and Weirdo.
Yep.
Hey, Dave, unlike Bob Daisley, I am not cheap. So name a number to keep that out.
And I can't believe this has turned into the Bob Daisley show. But one of the best pranks I remember Ozzy telling me was they were on the road and they had a call in the lobby of like 3 p.m. So Ozzy calls his assistant and says call time's been changed. It's 6 a.m. now. And he's like, yeah, really? He goes, yeah, it's 6 a.m. Call everybody and tell everybody got to be in the lobby at 6 a.m. So his assistant calls everybody 6 a.m. Ozzy then phones everybody to say, ignore it, apart from Bob Daisley. So Bob Daisley and the assistant are sitting in the lobby at 6 a.m.
Nice.
By the way, the name of this episode is Fuck Bob Daisley.
Yeah.
But-
Oh my God. Kudos to Bob Daisley for actually showing up.
yeah, exactly.
At 6 a.m.
At 6
though.
a.m.
I would have been on Google Flights looking for a flight at 2 o'clock to get to the next gig.
So Big Dave, we were just I was just kind of feeling the temperature of the room when it comes to pranks, because early on Steven learns as a teenager that you have to lock your door and put something up against your door, because one of Ozzy's favorite things to do, at least at that time, is to get a shaver, get a room key, get into your room while you're sleeping, bzz, and there's your eyebrows.
Oh man.
There goes.
Oh
your
no.
eyebrows. So I just wonder, like, Big Dave, do you have a good sense of humor about pranks and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can be pranked, but we really, like, when we came in, like, I would be part of the production, like pranking the new person that came in. Like I came in, like, and some people liked me and some people didn't like me because they're like, oh, he came from Sharon and stuff, so like he didn't do this. I guess I didn't go through the penance and whatnot. I was like, well, you didn't know my life and stuff, but a lot of people didn't know where I came from. I was like the Stephen Rae at one point. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? And now he's working, and now he's telling us what to do. Sharon told him to tell us, like, who's that? So after a while, once I got settled in and people knew I wasn't a fucking jerk off, they were like, all right, and then became part of the crew there, and then we would prank people, So like we had people, like one time, I remember there's this kid, he was turning 21, and he's like, he got whispers of like, oh, they're gonna throw him a party. So he thought we were gonna like throw him a party and shit, like have a huge thing for him. He's 21. So then we were like, all right, we were trying to figure out, like, how do we grab this kid and bring him up to this room? And then he just, like, let us grab him. And I was like, you sure about this, bro? He was like, yeah. So we put him in a wheelie, in like an office chair with wheels. And we duct taped him or gaff taped him to the chair. And this was our production guy, Opie, at the time, set this up.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden the music comes on and these two gay dancers come in with whipped cream. And they just start going all over this kid and danced all over this kid, filling up his pants with whipped cream and slapping it and licking his chest. This guy was having a fucking heart attack. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't. He's like, oh, I thought it was going to be a good party. I was like, yeah, for us.
Yeah. Oh,
but he was also kind of like a wise ass, so that's why he didn't get the girl. He got the guy, I think.
Oh, that is.
Now, what about the great tradition of last day of tour pranks?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you guys can get, because we learned it from Korn when we went out with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they toured with Ozzy, and I'm wondering if they learned that from Ozzy or where they picked it up. But we took that tradition and passed it. Go ahead.
I was on that tour, actually. That was 96 tour.
Mhm.
I was on. We toured. It was Korn and Deftones.
Yep.
Two bands. I worked that tour.
I snuck into that show at the Cow Palace,
Nice.
and
Really?
I handed our demo tape, Papa Roach demo tape, to Mike Bordin.
Really?
And I was like, dude, would you listen to this? Because, I knew Mike I didn't know him, but like he was a favorite of mine from Faith No More. I was
course.
like, dude, and he's playing with Ozzy. And like, of course I wanted to see Korn and the Tones, and got backstage as I used to be able to do, just whatever. Find myself back there and I see Mike and I'm like, dude, would you take our demo? It's like, sure, man, I'll listen to that. And Yeah, it was cool. It was a great moment.
Fake it till you make it.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Well, you know, just because you're talking, I mean, we mentioned Bobby there. Bobby was a Scottish guy who worked for a long time for Ozzy, and his sort of best mate was an English guy called Pete. So Ozzy's thing was in the 80s, he would get drunk and he would shave your eyebrows. I mean, that was like a thing. But this one night at I think it was maybe Ridge Farm Studios. I think it was rehearsals anyway. Bobby passes out. Bobby in later years became sober kind of thing, but back then he was a bit of a crazy drinker in the 80s as well. So he goes hard and he passes out like in the studio, in the room. And Ozzy, for whatever reason, he's not satisfied with the eyebrows, so he starts chopping off bits of Bobby's hair. He starts cutting off his hair. And Pete, who also worked for Pete's like Bobby's best mate, and Pete's going, "I'm not a part of this. I'm not a part of this. Oh, do that bit. Do that. I'm not a part of this. I'm not involved. This has nothing to do with me. You missed a bit. You missed a bit." So Ozzy's like, so to the extent that so they sort of leave, and Bobby has passed out in a chair all night. He wakes up. He said, and also because he's passed out, like sleeping with his legs over the chair arm, he can't walk. You know, he's got like that dead leg. So he's like up and he's like, walking, like hopping about the room. When the woman who comes in to make breakfast sees him, she walks in and just goes, and he so he goes and looks at the mirror, half his hair's missing.
He's like a homeless person.
So he runs in and Pete's in bed and he's like shaking him awake. He's going, "Look what you've done to me.
Oh.
Look what you've done to me." And Pete's going, "I can't look. I can't look."
Oh.
And he's going, "Look at me. Look at me." And he's going, so Bobby demands a ticket home. He's Scottish, but
shit.
Wow.
in California.
Bobby's the tour manager.
Bobby's the tour, but they're not on tour. They're not on the road at the minute. They're sort of in rehearsals.
Okay.
So he demands. He says, "Fuck you. I'm going. Get me." So he gets it. They get him a ticket. They get him a car. They send him to Heathrow in London, and he flies back. He quits on the spot, and he flies. He came back to work, but at that moment, he quits on the spot, and he goes back to California
with his fucked up
like
hairdo.
A week later, Sharon bumps into somebody she knows or gets a call, whatever, and she goes, "Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible about Bobby. It's terrible about Bobby." And Sharon's like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I saw him at Heathrow Airport. He must have cancer in his because he's lost all his hair." And Sharon's like, "Oh, he doesn't have cancer. He was just drinking with my husband."
By the way, I'm curious for both of you, Steven and Dave, do you think Ozzy could have had the career he had without Sharon?
Absolutely not. There's no Sharon. I mean, he was killing himself. He was washed up at 78, 79, you know, lying, burning through his money, thinking his career was over. Ozzy was always riddled with self-doubt. Ozzy always had imposter syndrome. He always thought, "I'm not good enough." And it was Sharon that came and shook him and said, "Get your arse out there. You know, you have the talent. We're backing you. We're going to make something from you, and you're going to play everywhere in the States, and you're going to build your career back up." There's no doubt. And even again, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but if you look at the 80s, the 1980 when his first album came out, and punk is about, again, I don't know so much about the States, but certainly in the UK, punk was huge, and he came through that. And then there was like that early 80s stuff with Iron Maiden and so on and so forth. And then there was the stuff in the mid 80s with the Cinderellas and the Motley Crues, when it was all big hair and razzmatazz. And then it was the grunge and the skit and Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains.
Yep.
And he went through.
Yeah, he survived all of that.
Yeah.
Just rode right over the top of all those changes in genre.
Big
taste.
I just watched the documentary No Escape from Home that's on Paramount Plus right now. And to watch their relationship, it's beautiful watching these two, because you really see, particularly in this time of life where Ozzy's body is not allowing him to do the things that he wants to do. And you can just feel the frustration out of him. This thing that he's done his entire life, his mind and his determination and his drive want to do it, but his body's just not cooperating. And just the love and support and the back and forth between those two, it's a beautiful, beautiful moment. I cried like a girl at least 2 or 3 times watching this documentary. Just watched it just recently, preparing for this thing to get some more stories out of that. And man, it is a beautiful
Dave,
documentary.
Have you watched the documentaries?
No, I haven't seen him yet. I'm kind of waiting. I don't know, I'm just not ready to watch any of that stuff yet. I'm like, even though it's been a year, I just like, it'll be there, and I don't. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I just stay away from it still for a little bit. You know, it's
Emotionally.
I just started like. Yeah, it's just like it'll be there. I don't need to see it now, and I'm not really. I want to, I guess maybe look at it be in a different headspace as opposed to being like still kind of super sad about it, and super bummed and whatnot. And I just don't really want to,
You actually make an appearance right in the very first scene behind that chair.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're in the very first scene. Boom.
Okay,
there's Dave.
I did go viral on the chair, so
That's right. That's right.
yeah, we had a lot of issues with the chair. Yes, that was.
And
we had to change the wheels and everything on that chair, so it was a very chair heavy week for me.
And Dave, same question to you, Dave. Do you think Ozzy's career could have lasted as long as it did without Sharon?
No, definitely not. And if some other manager would have got a hold of him, and doesn't care about it, just would just come up, and then they would discarded him or something. It's like that's the difference between like I feel like I'm around and Steve's around and the other people like John and Melinda and Michael at the office that we're around because we care, and stuff like that. Is it's like I care about this dude. I wasn't going. I'm like like Zach always says, I'll play for free. I'll get off a BLS tour for free for Ozzy right now. He needs me, and that's one guy. He doesn't lie or talk shit. So it's like we have more emotional investment than opposed to like a career investment. Like it gets to the point where like family and friends is great, and it doesn't matter that they're your bosses and stuff. Like Kelly is my little. My little sister, Jack's my little brother, the other people, it's just like that's who you grew up with. I spend more time with these people than my own family, I know Steven's probably in the same way, but I've missed I missed all my own families, I missed like weddings and this and that, but it was nothing or an experience that I wouldn't have give up because I gained like a family and stuff like that. So it's just crazy. It's like more of like, it doesn't become like, oh, is this right or wrong? It's like, what do we have to do? What does the boss want us to do?
I'm realizing at this point we're 50.
Like I have a saying, like my best friend. I have a saying. It's like a cool friend will bail you out of jail. Your best friend will be sitting next to you and say it's fucking fun.
Right. I'm realizing we're 55 minutes in almost on this episode. So we're going to have to make this into a 2-parter, but I want to just like cut the line with this story. There's a story that Steven wrote in his book that I went, oh, that's almost like a whole book right there. Just that one story. Steven is still a teenager. No, wait. No, he's probably in his early 20s at this point because this is leading into the end of the No More Tours tour. And I was there at Costa Mesa when Ozzy said, this is going to be the end of my touring. It's the No More Tears album, and the tour is going to be called the No More Tours Tour. And he wants to, and he really is done. Steven describes a moment in the middle of the No More Tours tour where Ozzy came home and just was in bed all day, every day. Like his body was exhausted. They're going to end in Costa Mesa, and it's announced that it's going to be Ozzy with Black Sabbath opening with Ronnie James Dio. And I don't know if it was implied at the time, but there was at least hope from the fans that maybe Ozzy would sing with Sabbath at the end of the night. And they end up doing 2 nights they put on sale, and Ozzy is going to sing with Black Sabbath on the final night. Steven is at Ozzy's home, and it's just Steven, Ozzy, and Sharon. Steven walks into an argument, and the argument is Sharon is saying, you should sing with Black Sabbath both nights because the fans who come the first night are going to feel cheated. And you got to do this for your fans. And he's like, Ozzy's arguing, you don't understand what that does to me. I can't do that 2 nights in a row. Sharon looks at Steven and says, Steven, What do you think?
Oh, Lord.
Fuck that. Fuck that. And luckily for Steven, in that moment, Ozzy is like, fuck this. And he gets up and he walks away. So Steven doesn't even have to answer. And my question to Dave is, I have to believe at least one time in your life, Sharon and Ozzy pitted you in the middle between them. And if so, what was it? Live from Baghdad.
There's a couple times. I'll say, so we did a Voodoo Fest down in New Orleans. I believe, forget what year. I think the Mets were in the World Series that year with Kansas City, and they lost. So we're doing Voodoo Fest, and that was Ozzy and Friends, where we'd have like different guests come up.
Yes.
And so we had like I forget. I'm trying to think who were the different guests. But we had some guests come up and like Ozzy. He was doing the show, but wasn't. It was
okay. Yeah, Steven is saying. You said Sly Stone. Is that what you said?
No, Slash, Tom Morello.
Tom
and
Morello.
Geezer. Yeah.
And Geezer.
Right?
Okay. Wow, I'm way the fuck off.
Sly Stone.
It was Slash, Tom Morello, Geezer Butler.
Or, according to my ears, Sly Stone and
and Jello
and Frank Stallone.
It was funny, one little side note of it. We were at rehearsals. Yeah, Frank. So hey, you know what? Frank
and
could play
Fishbone
if he needed to.
Yeah. So anyway, all these artists are coming up.
I believe it was like during Iron Man or something. Like Ozzy's voice blows out, and he kind of looks at me because I'm on the side of the stage because I'm like responsible for his teas and his mints and his jelly, all his stuff for his throat sprays and stuff. And he looks at me and he points at his voice, and he's not even going back to the drum riser. So that means he's going like in the middle of the song, he runs into the quick change. And he's like, I can't sing. He's like, go get Sharon. And I was like, I went, and Sharon was standing over there. I said, hey, he wants to talk to you. So I went, I put him in the quick change booth with the Sharon, and I was kind of standing there. And Sharon goes, just so you know, I'm leaving, and he's all your responsibility for the rest of the night. And she just left the show. And I opened the curtain. I go, Ozzy, what's going on? He goes, come on, let's go out. Let's go. Let's finish it. So he went out on the stage, played they finished Iron Man, like they kind of brought it down, but he went out there and proceeded to play like the next 5 songs in a row. His voice sounded fine, and he didn't even go back for water or anything. So I don't know what the hell it was, but that's one of the moments I was like, what do you mean you're leaving? She's like, yeah, he's all yours. So try to get him out on stage if you can. I was like, and when I went in there, it was kind of, so it's a lot of it's the mental thing with Ozzy, like Ozzy every night before he went out was, just scared, not scared, but like, anxious about giving everybody a good show, having a good show, making sure he held up, because he's like, I don't want to go out there and be like shit, like, and not sound good and this and give them a bad show. So every show to him was like his first show, really, and especially the latter shows, because he knew he had to work harder for the, to make himself have the stamina and his voice and stuff. But yeah, that was one where she just like threw that into my lap, and it was pretty. I'm just glad he came out of the quick change, because then it would have really went south.
Steven, were there any other times where you were pitted in between Ozzy and Sharon besides that?
I mean, I think that's like it was a standard occurrence, I think, where you find one of the things, and Dave obviously knows this as well, but there were many occasions where you had that decision to make, where you were maybe alone. It was maybe, I mean, again, I understand how extremely privileged and how lucky I was. I would get to stay at their house. Sharon would say, come and stay with us. So I was sort of away from the business situation, where you're in their house, you're in their kitchen, and we're having lunch, whatever it was, and it'd be Ozzy and Sharon and me and maybe a nanny or maybe the kids or whatever. But, even you mentioned there, I was 22 years old, I think, when I went and stayed with them the first time in LA, and even at that early age, you realized there was like a critical point that you got to walk away when the arguments start, you could see it was starting. So it was like, now is my chance, and you would dive to the kitchen to get a cup of tea or something. But if you didn't get away, then it was too awkward because the three of you were at the island, and you couldn't then get up and like in the middle of it go, well, see you. And so and then you're like, what side? Because like I said, I mean, just imagine that. Imagine on one hand, Ozzy Osbourne, my hero, the guy that is everything and on the music world. On the other side, Sharon, his wife, who's invited me to her house and who manages them. And they say, Stephen, what do you think?
Oh, the absolute worst. Dave and Chris, are there any moments in your life where you've been put in situations like that where you're like, don't ask me to get involved in this? Like when you've been touring, like, is there anything that comes close to these kind of moments that these two have had to get stuck in the middle of?
I don't have anything specifically from touring, but I feel like I put my kids through that all the time. When me and Stace were getting into it, I'll turn to one of our boys and be like, hey, you.
Yeah, what do you think? Oh, Chris.
Much like they did to Stephen. As the extended kid.
Yeah.
There at the island. Yeah.
I think what Stephen is describing in some of those moments where it's like, oh, I'm going to duck out is something that you commonly hear on tours where people don't get along, where a fight will start brewing and someone knows to look at somebody else and go, hey, Steve needs you in production right now. Oh shit. And you just leave, and just get out. All right, listen, we're going to put a pin in this and get to some stories, incredible stories about Sharon, incredible stories about Ozzy, and then get into that final show back to the beginning in Birmingham and then getting the news. And then the two of you, Dave and Steven, came back for the funeral and the services back at the house, at the Osbournes' house. So we're going to pause right here. We're going to call this part one and get Steven's book. It is incredible. It's called Ozzy and Me. Is there any one easy way to find it online, Steven, or just Google Ozzy and Me and find it?
I mean, I think Amazon, of course, but any bookseller should really, any local bookstore should be able to order it for you. I'm sure they don't have it on their shelves, but Amazon, Simon & Schuster, Barnes & Noble, anything at all like that, hopefully.
Any social media you would like to give out?
I'm on Facebook because I'm an old man. I'm facebook.com/Steve O'Ray is where to find me. I'm on Instagram and all those other things that the youngsters are on as well.
Steve O'Ray, Steve O'Ray spelled? Stevorea.
On my website is Stephen-Ray, STEPHEN-REA.com, Stephen-Ray.com. But usually a Google search should bring me up.
All right. And Big Dave, any social media you want to direct people to? I know you have incredible charity that you are involved in at your place.
Yes, we have our Enchanted Animal Rescue is one of our ventures there. Also, we have a store. It's called Deceased Vintage. If you guys go Google it, it's all, and you can get all the social media from that. And also, my wife, she's what's the Enchanted Church. If you guys get on that, the Enchanted Church, see my beautiful wife. She's actually blowing up and going viral, Craig. So if you actually want to up those viewers, you might want to jump on. She's about at 800,000 likes right now.
Jesus,
she has about 20,000. 20,000, but she only has 20,000 followers, so 22,000. So likes to follows. You might need to jump in there, or she might be a hand or two. I looked at your page; there's a little light for somebody that's been on Family Guy and Stern. So we got to up those, Craig.
Everyone's getting slapped by Dave today. I don't know, all the way from Baghdad. He's slapping everybody.
Everybody can get it today.
All right, come back for the next episode, part 2.
It. Well, you know what we'll do? We'll do. You could go live. You could do your show live on her. You can come to the church and you could go live on her Insta.
I'm down for that.
Church.
We actually talked about doing that. That is something we're going to put together.
Follow would be great.
That's it for part 1.
Yeah,
join us.
Sorry, guys.
Join us next week for part 2 with stories about Sharon, about Ozzy, about Back to the Beginning, and about the news of Ozzy's passing when we come back next week.
And not my audition tape from Kelly Osbourne.